Welcome to the Retro Cellar, where in today's episode we will be covering another handheld system. It's been on the market for a couple years. It was originally released on the market as a Bittboy. It has since been renamed as the PlayGO, but it is indeed a Bittboy, specifically version 3.5. As you can see, they've modeled it after a original Nintendo Game Boy, but it is a much smaller version, obviously. It has a 2.4-inch IPS display with a resolution of 320 by 240. Runs an open dingus system. Can support systems like the NES, Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, Sega Master System, PC Engine or TurboGrafx 16, Neo Geo, Wonder Swan, among others. Says that it runs PlayStation 1, but just like a lot of these systems, some recent ones that I've reviewed, that is definitely a mixed bag. Um, Also, it doesn't have shoulder buttons on it, so it is basically limited what it could play as far as PlayStation is concerned. We'll get into that. As I said, it's a hit or miss with those, mostly miss. When I originally got this thing, I had a lot of issues with it. Uh, I think the second time I turned it on, it wouldn't boot up. The screen was just black. There was nothing I could do. I tried many different things. There's no way to hard reset it. I took the battery out, put it back in. Nothing. And I thought I basically had this as a 30 some dollar paperweight. Then one day I decided to turn it back on to see if I could make some kind of attempt at doing something. And lo and behold, it turned on through no intervention of my own. And then it started functioning. Then I got another issue with it where every time I would go into an emulator, play a game, try to go back to the main menu, it would crash and I get the black screen of death, forcing me to turn it off and turn it back on, which isn't what you want to do with this system. You want to actually power down in the system itself before you turn off the switch. And if you turn it on, or off, I should say, and turn it back on without doing that, it basically curses at you and tells you that you didn't do a clean shutdown. So I had to do that every single time that I played a game, which is risky because you can corrupt the files on it and then totally ruin it. So I went to research what I could do. One of the things which I haven't mentioned before in any other systems, these basically come with a off-brand micro SD card, which are crap. So it's best to get a brand name like SanDisk and copy the files over to that in order to not have them corrupt on you, which is what I've done since then. But for some reason, again, just after playing this a few times, whatever issue was causing it to freeze up every time I tried to get back to the main menu suddenly resolved itself, again, through no intervention of my own, and now the thing functions perfectly, sort of. Um, so the way it was performing the first couple weeks that I had it, it was kind of gearing up for a awful review. But now that it's functioning the way it's supposed to, my review has actually changed on it. We'll take a look at it and show you the good and bad things about it, and we'll see what you think. So let's also do a pseudo unboxing just to show you what comes with it, and we'll take a closer look at it. So let's do our pseudo unboxing here. As you can see, it is a relatively no frills box, but it is a very nice box. Nice and solid. Has basically the specs on it. Some of the games that it supports, that you can save games, 2.4 IPS screen, blah blah, this and that. It says it has a battery life of 2 to 3 hours with a 700 milliamp hour rechargeable lithium battery. you're probably going to get closer to an hour, hour and a half with it. But that's not necessarily uh, a bad thing, because your hands are going to probably poop out long before the battery does. But it doesn't take long to charge it either way. So let's open up the box and see what we get inside. Comes wrapped in this nice little baggie here. And here is the system itself, which we will set off to the side because we will be taking a look at that later. And let's take this out. And you have the manual. Extremely basic. So they're not kidding as far as the basic operation is concerned. Not necessary to look at that. And the only other things we get in this, and this is actually nice, they have a micro SD USB card reader. So if you want to add games or make adjustments, do the firmware and all that, simply put your micro SD card in here, plug it into the USB port, and you're good to go. And then in here you have the micro USB charging. Can't critique them, although most systems have, the better systems have moved up to USB-C. Like I said, this is a couple years old, so it's not a surprise that that's what you get with this. But what are you gonna do? So here we are. This is a close look at the PlayGO device. And as you can see, it resembles a Game Boy, but significantly in a smaller form. It has really good build quality for something of its size. If you remember, one of the first episodes that I had done was of a system called the SUP2, which is this thing right here, which it was $12 when I got it. Plays 8-bit stuff. Reviewed okay, but it's just an okay system. It is significantly larger than the PlayGO is, but oddly enough, the PlayGO probably weighs just a hair more than this thing. And by the way, this thing has trigger buttons, which are useless on this system. This sure could have used it. But this is significantly more powerful than the SUP2, and is probably along the same lines as the Powkiddy V90 as far as its capabilities is concerned. Runs a similar system as well. But let's take a look around it. As you can see, it looks like a Game Boy. Different button configuration, however. It is the same color, slightly darker than the original Game Boy. Has a couple different buttons. Has a reset button. And they're actually pretty good quality buttons. The D-pad isn't too stiff, and it functions very well in the games. As far as fighting games are concerned, it's easy to pull off some of the moves on it. Start and select. At the top, you have your TF card slot or micro SD card. Power switches right there. It uses a micro USB. And here is your headphone jack as well. This screen, let me comment on this thing. This screen is amazing. It is an IPS screen, and like I said, it has one of the best displays of any system that I have, including the RG351P from Ambernick that I have. It's a smaller screen, but it's a beautiful screen. We turn this thing on and look at this amazing display up here. And it's using NX Hope, similar operating system to the Powkiddy V90 / Ambernick S100 that I reviewed not too long ago. Same menu basically. You want to go up and down on the left menu. You hit the T buttons up and down. And as you cycle through, you can see this is where you would go to power it down on the settings option. Click on that before you turn it off. Save yourself a big headache. And up here are where some of the pre-installed games are that are on the system and not off of the card. That you see it, a lot of the systems have this. Here is, let's go up here first, some basic functions on here. There's like an explorer, music player, terminal, some kind of writing program, basic stuff. Not interested in that just yet. And here's where you have your emulators that are on here. You have Amiga, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, NES, SNES, Sega Master System, and Game Gear apparently is mixed in with it. Mega Drive, Atari 2600, Lynx, PC Engine, or TurboGrafx 16. Your arcade main games, Final Burn Alpha, Neo Geo, some DOS games, Pokemini, Wonder Swan, PS1, Vectrex, Game Boy Rumble, Game Boy Oh Boy, and back to square one. So let's look at some games. But before we get into it, as you can see, there is no volume control on the outside. Not that that's that big of a deal, because if you want to actually adjust the volume on it, if you hit the select button and hold it, A lowers the volume, B brings up the volume. Again, as you can hear, it's actually pretty loud. And you could do the same thing for the brightness, which is nice because this helps you save that battery, is you can adjust the brightness. Really nice touch. So if you want to go back to the main menu, just hit reset, go down to quit, and it takes you back to the main menu where you could cycle through your games. Obviously, this system is going to be able to handle Game Boy and Game Boy Advance pretty good, so we don't have to go into that much detail with it. This screen, I'm telling you, as small as it is, it's very saturated with color, very vibrant. It's an excellent, excellent screen. Don't remember it doing that. Oops, I did it again. Here are Super Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo. I could just stay on the course. But if you look at all these reviews that I do that have racing games, you see me doing a lot of this, driving off-road. I suck at these. So since I suck at racing games, let's look at another one. More of me going off course. Here we have Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Master System. See, it's running pretty darn good. Look how good that looks. I tell you, this little system can be impressive. see, it handles this just nice. So I have to say, it's a little trickier than using, say, the Mega Drive controller, because you have to keep on the throttle and then rock your thumb over to try and punch. So it's not easy to do. Controls are a little something that you got to get used to, but it's not bad. Looks pretty good though. Continuing our tradition of Brad sucks at racing games, this is Outrun, still on the PC Engine. And as expected, it is handling it just fine. And I am still on the road. Holy crap. Another beautiful game that looks very well on here. One thing about this game, just have a heck of a time getting the power-ups, the way they bounce around. Listen to the sound on that. For one mono speaker, it really has some sound to it. Tinny, it's not bassy by any means, but sound is pretty good on it. And with the angle of this, your thumb doesn't actually go over it, so not too bad. So here we are doing Street Fighter 2, and you can hear the audio is a bit off on this. Yeah, definitely some audio issues. Like I said, system's not perfect. There's a little delay in the response time. Now we're moving over to Final Burn Alpha, which there's a lot of issues with games here. Show you, similar to a review I did in our last episode of the 4K game stick, this is Afterburner, and it can't run it on Final Burn Alpha, and it is basically unplayable. No particular reason why it should. Again, it should be able to handle this, but you can tell the audio is off, skips a lot of frames, stutters, going a little slow, response is completely off. In fact, I can't do anything more than make a left-hand turn. It's not even let me go to the right. So, this is unplayable. So, here we have BC Kid, otherwise known as Bonk's Adventure. This is also on Final Burn Alpha, but this is an arcade game. that I didn't know actually existed until I saw it once at a Dave & Buster's of all places. But it's different, and this doesn't run perfectly on this. It seems to be, skipping some frames. There's some audio issues with it as well, but it's certainly playable. This is Marvel vs. Capcom, still on Final Burn Alpha, and while it does glitch and does have audio issues, it's still very playable, and it looks phenomenal. I mean, look at the colors on this. It just looks phenomenal. Look at the colors. Great game. So here we have Truxton still on Final Burn Alpha, and as you can see, this vertical shooting game is turned the wrong way. So if you want to play it, you have to play it like this. Looks like it would play it otherwise, but let's give it a shot. See if I can even play it like this. It feels wrong. A little awkward. Especially for a game that's as busy as this. You kind of want to be a little bit more comfortable with holding it. So this is supposed to be Vectrex, but doesn't seem to be anything functional, nor does that look like anything remotely like Vectrex. Most of them don't even run. So they're pretty much useless. So don't count on running any of the Vectrex games. So we're just going to close out this close look at the PlayGO / Bittboy, closing it out with the PlayStation 1. Now, to their credit, they know that they can't run PlayStation games well on here, like most of the systems in this price range. And because they don't have shoulder buttons, they know that there's a lot of games on the PS1 that they can't run. So they only offer 3 of them: Contra, Iron 3, and Mega Man. So apparently Iron 3 is actually Tekken 3 for the PlayStation 1. Curious to see how this one will run. Oh, listen to that. Let's start up a game. Sounds like it's gonna glitch out on me here. Yeah, look at that. Well, if you don't mind playing Tekken in super slow motion with glitchy audio. Wow. This is unplayable. The one thing I should mention with this is where its size is a positive, and the fact that it's portable and you can literally throw it in any pocket, where that's a good thing. The bad thing is for somebody that's got, adult male size hands like mine. I mean, I don't have giant sausage fingers or anything like that, but it's small in the hand. So after a while of playing it, your hands are going to start to cramp up. Your thumbs, your fingers, just because of how you have to hold it. It's not exactly ergonomic because of the size of it. So just be aware that you'll probably have to take breaks. But it's probably all right for a kid. For little kids, like to me holding a Game Boy. But yeah. So if you do decide you want to try your hand at the PlayGO/Bittboy, it's available at the usual sites like AliExpress, Banggood, eBay, Amazon. I'm sure even in a Google search you can find it and it'll pop up somewhere between the $30 to $40 price range. To me, it's worth that much. I highly doubt that you'll have the same issues that I did when I first got it. If there are, there's lots of resources out there to try and fix those problems, or it could just magically fix itself like mine did. But in the end, I think it was definitely worth it, and I don't regret getting it, and I will probably continue to use it. But that should wrap up this episode. Please comment, like, subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode.